Good day everyone, Trainer Maxim with you. Thank you very much for joining me for this quick fix series. Today we're going to address the muscle ups on the rings. As always, I thank everyone who supports my channel. Thank you so much. Super thanks, support angels. Thank you a lot, guys and girls. Thank you. Let's improve our muscle ups. But before we do that, let me show you what it typically looks like, at least what I keep seeing in the gym. A typical muscle up looks approximately like this. We go into the false grip, grab it here. We typically would start with the elbows slightly bent. We go here into the full extension of the torso, but in my case I cannot do this. And we grab the biceps, lean forward here and relying on the triceps, go up and turn in the elbows in and go down. A lot of times it's performed with less effort or more effort, but the technique is still the same. We're bringing the elbows a little bit in, we pull with the biceps primarily, and we are driving the hands along the pecs line. That crunches us forward a little bit, so we'll go forward, and after we rely on the triceps to press down, and after we go into the good support position with the elbows turned in by turning elbows in. So this technique has a couple of disadvantages. That's a good cornerstone towards the better technique, but let's discuss its disadvantages. First of all, we're not keeping the spine neutral. This way makes us bend the spine, getting us into the crunch position. That will not allow us a good transition into the planches or handstands or anything else, because the muscle ups are not actually a skill in gymnastics. It's just simply how you enter the rings. There is no other way to enter the rings but the muscle ups. So before you enter, you want to make sure that your spine at all times stays neutral, so you can go into the handstands, into the L seats or anything else without wasting your time on readjusting the spine. So that technique drives the spine into the crunch. That's the first one. The second one, that technique drives the shoulders into the closed position, meaning that the scapulas are collapsed forward. That position closes the shoulders. Now the upper arm cannot move around the joint, cannot do any other elements because the shoulders are immobile, no matter how flexible you are. You're just driving the shoulders forward, shoulders are closed. We can't do this. The third thing, this technique typically relies on the incorrect false grip. So incorrect false grip means that often we're grabbing the rings and we're driving it here, trying to put the ring like this way. It looks like a false grip, but it's a false grip. So it means that, what is the false grip? With this false grip, you will not be able to turn the arms out and straighten the elbow, because with this we engage too much of the forearm, too much of the biceps, it's too much tension, and if you attempt to straighten it, that's too much tension in the biceps and it will collapse shoulders forward, so it will be close to impossible to straighten the elbows and go in this way. We need to fix that situation. So let's address these three things. First, let's start with the false grip. False grip is pretty straightforward. We actually want at all time to keep the wrist neutral. What it means, we want the bones of the hand here, these two primary bones, index finger and the middle finger bone, being one line with the forearm. And if it's the case, then the fingers themselves are facing slightly sideways. And when you take the hollow body hold, you're trying to create 90-degree angle between this bone and this bone. And if you keep the 90-degree angle and curl it like this, that's your false grip. So we're not driving the wrist into the opposite way. That will get us out of the alignment here, and we'll engage too much of these guys, too much of the biceps, and we'll close the shoulders. You will not be able to extend the arms. So instead, you're keeping the false grip this way. I will demonstrate shortly. Second, when we pull, we would like to keep the body tall at all time. Torso, upper torso up, lower torso down, hollow, flaring the rib cage here at the bottom, kind of back, using the serratus posterior muscles. They're pulling on 4 ribs diagonally down to the lower back, so that it looks like this. To make sure that the spine stays stable, no crunching, no arching. Stable spine means now you have an opportunity to keep the shoulders open. meaning that you're engaging this serratus anterior muscle and lower trapezius muscle, which will drag the shoulder blades into the backward tilt and kind of this rotation, opening the shoulders. With the open shoulders, the upper arm bone has more room to move and it's more mobile, not damaging the shoulders, and also it provides the other muscles of the shoulders, the deltoids and other guys, with a good support to hold onto while they're pulling on the arms. So because the blades are not collapsing forward, they're not flimsy, now your lat can pull with efficiency on the upper arm. All the shoulder muscles are working efficiently, simply because now your shoulders are stable and not collapsing. That will give you an opportunity to transition into the planches, handstands, etc. So we need to keep the spine tall, shoulders open, wrists in a good false grip. Those are three basic things. Now we want to reconsider how we pull into the muscle up. Typically we rely on the biceps due to the same reason. Everything is closed, you here, you crunched, and often with this technique you will get stuck in the middle. You'll get up to this point and will not know how to transition, because you exhausted the range of motion of the biceps, and yeah, you can pull a little bit more, but it will be very laborious. Sisyphean effort almost for many people. So we want to reconsider it. Once we have taken under control those three things, tall spine, open shoulders, good false grip, we want to think we're not pulling with the biceps, we're pulling with the lats. Lats are attached to now stable spine and the arm here. And once you're in the position with the shoulders open, you picture the lats are pulling the arm down, but not just down, not in a straight line down. You're picturing the elbow going away from the torso, away from this point towards the torso, because elbow is a lever, it's touched to the upper arm. This upper arm as a lever moves around the fulcrum, your stable shoulders, and no point of the lever can move in a straight line unless the fulcrum is disturbed. What it means, if you attempt to bring the elbow from A to B in a straight line, you'll have to push the upper arm into the shoulder. That will collapse your shoulder, will do this to you, and you will have to rely on the biceps. So in your mind, the perception of the movement should be, while I'm pulling down, it's not really down, it's away, down to the torso, and back the same way, away, down to the torso with all those positions. This way, you will engage a lot of lats. The lats will grab your stable spine and literally shove you up onto the rings like a rocket in a straight fashion, without a need to crunch, without a need to hurt your shoulders, and etc. And from that position, you can transition into the planche, you can transition to the iron cross, and you go from there. So let's see what it looks like. First, the false grip. I'm here, and I'm going here. Nope, we're going in the opposite direction, this way. For the first time, it will feel a little bit uncomfortable, like, okay, so we're curling this way a little bit. And see how, if you curl it the opposite way, the rings are turning in the opposite direction, not towards you, but away from you a little bit. In combination with the open shoulders, that will make it possible for you to be fully hanging on the rings with the arms straight, because many of us cannot do this. We cannot simply turn it out and here without crunching. See how I'm slouched a bit because too much tension in the biceps. But with a good false grip, the opposite direction curl and open shoulders, I can easily do that. And now I can hang. That's the first thing. So you take this position, keeping the shoulders open, keeping the torso tall at all time, and pulling with the elbows the way I just described, away, down, and see what's going to happen. I'm not going to straighten the legs, obviously, because I don't have room for that, so I will have to do with the L sit a little bit. So, but it looks like this. You go here, turning, and picturing the elbows. Away, down, shoulders open. Now notice, when I pull it up, once I climb onto the rings, yes, my elbows turned in, but it's not because I task my rotator cuff with this procedure. I did not ask my shoulders to turn it in. Sorry, the rotator cuff. I simply kept the shoulder open, and that open position shoulder turned my elbow in, keeping my muscles of the shoulders, which are responsible for the arm movement, free, meaning that at any point now I can transition into the planche into the iron cross or any other drills. Versus if with the first technique like this, you go here and you turn the arms in using the rotator cuff. Now they're busy. Now they can't do the other stuff. How would you rotate them? How would you move them sideways if you're tasking them to rotate it in? That's not compatible with the iron cross. So we need to free the rotator cuff and muscles of the shoulders from that task by simply placing the shoulders in a good position. Let's compare two movements. The first technique and the second technique. The first technique with the false grip in, here, down, here, here. See how shoulders forward, rotate the elbows in, support. That's not a good support. I can barely breathe. I can barely straighten my spine up. I can barely control this movement. No way I can do. I can't do more of these, but I will be fatiguing for nothing. It's a lot of inefficiencies here. Versus, I'm just focusing on the lats, pulling it sideways, staying tall, and notice the behavior of my chin and the neck during this position. It will look much more open. So this position, good curl. The other way, shoulders open. That will give us this position here, spine. And you pull sideways, shoulders open, spine tall. Now I can stay more stable, shoulders open. I'm not struggling. And that's the main difference. So for the improvement of your muscle ups, take care of the tall spine, open shoulders, good false grip, the other direction, and pull from the lats, thinking elbows way down. Once on the rings, no crunching, no collapsing shoulders, keep the shoulders open, and the open shoulders will bring your elbows into the turned in position as they're supposed to be, so you can go into the iron cross. And with a little bit of practice and more room, apparently, you'll be able to just fly up 10 reps, up and down, because in gymnastics, it's the only way to enter the rings in a good way, to transition into the other skills. Not the only way. You can jump, you can do many other cool things, but primarily, if you want it simple, keep it simple, just this way, with the torso as neutral as possible, with the legs in one line with the torso, so you look much more effortless while entering the rings, the support position versus here. That's it for today. Now go to the gym, try it. Tell me what you think. Trainer Maxim with you as usual. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. Cheers.